What if I told you there's a country where you can see the tallest sand dunes on Earth glowing red at sunrise, where elephants have learned to survive in pure desert, and where you can find diamonds just lying on the beach? A place so wild and untouched that it looks like another planet, yet it's one of the safest countries in Africa. This is Namibia, and in the next hour, I'm going to show you why this might be the most incredible country you've never heard of. A land where the desert meets the ocean, where ancient tribes still live as they did thousands of years ago, and where nature has created landscapes so stunning they're used as alien worlds in Hollywood movies. But here's the crazy part, most people can't even point to Namibia on a map. By the end of this video, you'll understand why that's about to change forever. Namibia is not your typical African country. While most people think of Africa as dense jungles and savannas filled with lions, Namibia is something completely different. It's a country where 80% of the land is desert, where it might not rain for 7 years straight, and where the landscape changes so dramatically that you feel like you're driving through 5 different planets in a single day. This is the second least populated country in the world, with just 2.5 million people spread across an area larger than Texas. That means there are more lions than people in some regions, and you can drive 4 hours without seeing another human being. It's a land of extremes, contradictions, and impossible beauty. For over a century, this country was hidden from the world, first as a German colony, then under South African rule. It only gained independence in 1990, making it one of Africa's youngest nations. But what it lacks in age, it makes up for in raw, untamed magnificence. Today, we're going on a complete journey through Namibia, from the world's oldest desert to the richest diamond beaches on Earth. From ancient rock art that's older than the pyramids to ultra-modern cities that rival anything in Europe. This is everything you need to know about Africa's best-kept secret. Guide. Chapter number 1, the Namib Desert, where time stands still. Let's start with the reason Namibia got its name. Namib means vast place in the local Nama language, and when you see this desert, you'll understand why. The Namib Desert is not just any desert, it's the oldest desert on Earth, having existed for over 80 million years. To put that in perspective, this desert was already ancient when the first dinosaurs walked the Earth. But this isn't a barren wasteland. The Namib Desert is alive, breathing, and constantly changing. The most famous part is Source-Susplay, home to the tallest sand dunes on the planet. These aren't just big hills of sand, they're moving mountains that can reach heights of over 1,200 feet. That's taller than the Empire State Building, made entirely of sand that shifts and changes with every wind. The colors here are unlike anywhere else on Earth. At sunrise, the dunes glow deep red and orange, like massive embers burning against the pale sky. The sand gets its color from iron oxide that has been oxidizing for millions of years. Each grain of sand is like a tiny piece of rust, creating landscapes that look more like Mars than Earth. What makes these dunes even more incredible is that they're constantly moving. The wind pushes them across the desert floor at a rate of about 60 feet per year. Some dunes are over 5 million years old, slowly marching across the landscape like geological giants. Local people say you can hear the dunes singing, a low, humming sound created when the sand slides down the slopes. But the real magic happens in places like Deadvley, a white clay pan surrounded by red dunes where 900-year-old camel thorn trees stand perfectly preserved. These trees died when the climate changed and the river dried up, but the desert air is so dry that they've never decayed. They stand like black skeletons against the white clay and red sand, creating some of the most photographed landscapes on Earth. The Namib Desert stretches for over 1,200 miles along Namibia's coast, creating a barrier between the interior and the Atlantic Ocean. It's so harsh that NASA uses it to test Mars rovers, and so beautiful that it's been declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site. This is a place where time moves differently, where you can stand on sand dunes that have been forming since before humans existed. Chapter number 2, the Skeleton Coast, where ships go to die. Moving west from the desert, we reach one of the most feared coastlines in the world. The Skeleton Coast earned its ominous name from the thousands of ships that have wrecked here over the centuries, and from the whale and seal bones that once littered the beaches. This is where the world's oldest desert meets the Atlantic Ocean, creating one of the most hostile yet beautiful environments on Earth. The coast is shrouded in fog for most of the year, created when the cold Benguela current meets the hot desert air. This fog can be so thick that visibility drops to just a few feet, which explains why so many ships have met their doom here. Portuguese sailors called it the gates of hell, and for good reason. The combination of hidden rocks, powerful currents, and zero visibility has claimed over 1,000 ships. But today, these shipwrecks have become attractions in themselves. The Edward Bolen, a cargo ship that ran aground in 1909, now sits almost a mile inland, moved there by shifting sands over more than a century. You can walk around this massive steel skeleton, imagining the terror of the sailors who found themselves stranded in one of the most remote places on Earth. The Skeleton Coast is also home to one of Africa's most incredible wildlife spectacles. This seemingly barren coastline supports over 200,000 fur seals at Cape Cross, creating one of the largest seal colonies in the world. The noise is deafening, the smell is overwhelming, and the sight of hundreds of thousands of marine mammals covering every inch of beach is both beautiful and chaotic. What makes this place truly special is how life has adapted to survive here. Desert elephants have learned to live in this harsh environment, traveling up to 90 miles in search of water. They've developed larger feet to walk on sand and can go days without drinking. These aren't just regular elephants, they're a specially adapted population that exists nowhere else on Earth. Lions also live here, hunting seals on the beaches and somehow surviving in a place where it might not rain for years. These desert lions are leaner and stronger than their savanna cousins, with larger territories and different hunting strategies. Watching a lion walk along an ocean beach, with shipwrecks in the background and sand dunes rising behind, is one of the most surreal sights in Africa. Chapter number 3. The Diamond Coast, Africa's Treasure Beach. South of the Skeleton Coast lies one of the richest places on Earth, though you'd never know it by looking at it. The Diamond Coast, or Spurge Beach, is a restricted area that produces some of the world's highest quality diamonds. For over a century, this desert coastline has been one of the most closely guarded secrets in Africa. The story begins in 1908, when a railway worker named Zacharias Luella was clearing sand from the railway line near the town of Luderitz. He found a shiny stone, showed it to his German supervisor, and changed Namibia forever. That stone was a diamond, and it was just the beginning. This area produces diamonds so pure and valuable that they're considered among the best in the world. What makes Namibian diamonds special isn't just their quality, it's how they're found. Unlike other diamond mines that require deep excavation, many Namibian diamonds are found on or near the surface. The Orange River has been washing diamonds from the interior of South Africa for millions of years, depositing them along Namibia's coast. Ocean currents and waves then concentrated these diamonds on specific beaches, creating areas where you can literally pick diamonds off the sand. The town of Kolmanskop tells the story of this diamond rush. Built by German colonists in the early 1900s, it was once one of the richest towns in Africa. The residents lived in luxury that rivaled European capitals. They had the first X-ray machine in the southern hemisphere, a casino, a theatre, and even an ice factory. But when richer diamond fields were discovered further south, the town was abandoned. Today, Kolmanskop is a ghost town slowly being reclaimed by the desert. Sand pours through broken windows, filling rooms that once hosted elegant parties. It's hauntingly beautiful, a reminder of how quickly fortunes can change in this harsh land. Walking through these sand-filled houses feels like exploring a lost civilization. The diamond industry still dominates this region, but now it's carefully managed. The entire area is restricted, and only authorized personnel can enter. Modern diamond mining here is done both on land and at sea, with specialized ships vacuuming diamonds from the ocean floor. It's estimated that this small stretch of coastline still holds billions of dollars worth of diamonds. Chapter number 4. Windhoek, the heart of modern Namibia. After all this talk of deserts and diamonds, you might think Namibia is stuck in the past. But travel to the capital city of Windhoek, and you'll discover a modern African metropolis that would surprise most visitors. Windhoek sits in a valley, surrounded by mountains, at an elevation that gives it a mild climate year-round despite being in the heart of southern Africa. This city of 400,000 people is a fascinating blend of African, German, and South African influences. You can see this mixture everywhere. German colonial architecture stands next to modern African buildings. Street signs are in 3 languages, and you can buy traditional African crafts in shopping malls that rival anything in Europe or America. The German influence is particularly strong because Namibia was a German colony from 1884 to 1915. You can still see this in the architecture, the food, and even the beer. Namibia produces some of the best beer in Africa, following German brewing traditions that date back over a century. The Windhoek lager is particularly famous and is exported around the world. But Windhoek is also thoroughly African. The markets are filled with traditional crafts, the music scene is vibrant, and the cultural diversity is incredible. Over 11 different ethnic groups call Namibia home, each with their own languages, traditions, and customs. Walking through Windhoek, you might hear German, English, Afrikaans, and half a dozen African languages in a single morning. The city is also remarkably safe by African standards. Namibia has one of the lowest crime rates on the continent, and visitors often comment on how secure they feel walking around Windhoek, even at night. This safety, combined with excellent infrastructure, makes Namibia one of the best places for first-time visitors to Africa. Modern Windhoek is also a hub for conservation and tourism. Many of the world's leading conservation organizations have offices here, working to protect Namibia's unique wildlife and landscapes. The city serves as a base for exploring the rest of the country, with tour operators offering everything from hot air balloon rides over the desert to luxury safari lodges.
Chapter No. 5: The People, Ancient Cultures in a Modern World. What makes Namibia truly special isn't just its landscapes, it's the people who have learned to thrive in one of Earth's harshest environments. Namibia is home to some of the oldest cultures on the planet, including the San people, who have been living in southern Africa for over 20,000 years. The San, also known as Bushmen, are the indigenous people of the Kalahari Desert. They're believed to be the direct descendants of the first humans, and their DNA contains the most genetic diversity of any people on Earth. For thousands of years, they've survived in the desert using knowledge passed down through generations, knowledge of which plants provide water, which animals to hunt, and how to navigate by the stars. Traditional San hunting techniques are legendary. They use bows with arrows tipped with poison made from beetle larvae, and they can track animals across seemingly barren ground for days. They know the desert so intimately that they can find water in places where others see only sand. Their language includes click sounds that don't exist in any other language family, and their oral traditions preserve stories that date back thousands of years. But the San are just one of many fascinating cultures in Namibia. The Himba people in the north have maintained their traditional lifestyle despite the modern world around them. Himba women cover their skin with a mixture of red ochre and fat, which protects them from the harsh sun and gives them their distinctive appearance. They've been living as semi-nomadic pastoralists for centuries, moving their cattle across the landscape in search of water and grazing. The Herero people have one of the most unique fashion traditions in Africa. Herero women wear elaborate Victorian-style dresses introduced by German missionaries in the 1800s, but they've adapted them with distinctively African patterns and colors. These dresses, along with distinctive horn-shaped headdresses, have become a symbol of cultural pride and resistance. Each of these groups has their own language, customs, and way of understanding the world. Yet they all share the ability to thrive in Namibia's challenging environment. They've developed sophisticated systems of water management, animal husbandry, and sustainable living that modern conservationists are only beginning to understand. Today, many young people from these traditional cultures are getting modern educations and moving to cities, but they're also working to preserve their heritage. There are cultural villages where visitors can learn traditional skills, and many communities are involved in tourism and conservation projects that help preserve both their culture and the environment. Chapter 6: Wildlife Desert Adaptation. Namibia might seem too harsh for wildlife, but it's actually home to some of the most uniquely adapted animals on Earth. This is a place where evolution has been forced to get creative, producing species that exist nowhere else and behaviors that seem almost impossible. We've already mentioned the desert elephants and lions, but they're just the beginning. Namibia is home to desert rhinos that can survive without water for days, traveling vast distances across seemingly barren landscapes. These black rhinos have learned to eat different plants than their savanna cousins and have developed the ability to detect water from miles away. The gemsbok, or oryx, is perfectly designed for desert life. These antelopes can raise their body temperature to 113 degrees Fahrenheit without suffering heat stroke, and they can go their entire lives without drinking water, getting all the moisture they need from the plants they eat. When they do get hot, they have a sophisticated cooling system. Blood vessels in their nose cool the blood going to their brain. Perhaps even more remarkable are the smaller creatures. The Namib desert beetle has developed a way to harvest water from fog, inspiring engineers around the world. The beetle's shell has hydrophobic and hydrophilic areas that collect water droplets from the morning fog, which then roll down into the beetle's mouth. Scientists have used this design to develop new water collection systems for arid regions. Geckos here have translucent skin and webbed feet that allow them to walk on sand dunes without sinking. Snakes have learned to swim through sand, moving in a sidewinding motion that prevents them from getting burned by the hot surface. Even the insects are specially adapted. Some ants can withstand temperatures that would kill most other creatures. The coastal areas support marine life that feeds massive colonies of seals, sea lions, and seabirds. The cold Benguela Current brings nutrients that support one of the richest marine ecosystems in the world. Southern right whales migrate along this coast, and the area is famous for shark diving and fishing. But perhaps the most impressive adaptation story belongs to the desert horses of Garub. These feral horses have been living in the Namib desert for over a century, somehow surviving in conditions that kill most domestic animals. No one knows exactly how they got there. Theories range from German cavalry horses abandoned during World War I to horses that escaped from a ship, but they've thrived, developing the ability to go days without water and to find food in the harshest environment imaginable.
Travel Guide. Chapter 7. Conservation Success Stories. Namibia has become a world leader in conservation, and their success story is one of the most inspiring in Africa. This is a country that has managed to increase wildlife populations while also improving the lives of local people, something that many conservationists thought was impossible. The key to Namibia's success is community-based conservation. Instead of keeping local people away from wildlife areas, Namibia has given communities ownership of the wildlife on their land. Through the Communal Conservancy Program, local communities can benefit directly from tourism and sustainable hunting, giving them a financial incentive to protect animals instead of competing with them. This approach has produced incredible results. Namibia now has the largest population of free-roaming black rhinos in the world. When this program started in the 1980s, there were fewer than 700 black rhinos in the country. Today, there are over 2,500, and the numbers are still growing. The desert rhino population, which was down to just 50 individuals in the 1980s, has recovered to over 150. The Communal Conservancy Program now covers over 80,000 square miles. That's larger than the entire country of Senegal. These areas are managed by local communities who receive direct benefits from tourism and conservation. Game guards are hired from local villages, tourism lodges provide employment, and communities receive a share of the profits from tourism activities. One of the most successful examples is the Tora Conservancy, where local communities have been protecting desert elephants for over 20 years. The elephant population has grown from fewer than 50 to over 150, and the tourism revenue supports schools, clinics, and other community development projects. The program has also helped protect predators, which are often killed by farmers protecting their livestock. Instead of killing lions and leopards, farmers now use various techniques to protect their animals while keeping the predators alive. Some communities have even benefited from predator tourism, visitors who come specifically to see desert lions and other rare predators. Namibia's constitution actually includes environmental protection as a fundamental principle, one of the few countries in the world to do so. The government has committed to maintaining 15% of the country as protected areas, and they're well on their way to achieving this goal.
Chapter 8. The Kalahari, a different kind of desert. While the Namib Desert gets most of the attention, Namibia's eastern regions are dominated by a completely different kind of desert, the Kalahari. Unlike the Namib sand dunes and rocky landscapes, the Kalahari is a semi-arid savanna covered in red sand and scattered with acacia trees and grasslands. The Kalahari isn't technically a true desert because it receives more rainfall than the Namib, but it's still an incredibly harsh environment. The sand here is deep red, colored by iron oxide, and it stretches as far as the eye can see. During the dry season, it looks barren and lifeless, but after the rains, it transforms into a green paradise filled with flowers, migrating animals, and abundant life. This is the home of the San people we discussed earlier, and it's where some of the most important archaeological discoveries in human history have been made. Rock art sites throughout the Kalahari contain paintings and engravings that are thousands of years old, showing ancient hunting scenes, spiritual ceremonies, and daily life from prehistory. The Kalahari is also home to some of Africa's most elusive animals. Brown hyenas roam these red sands, along with coracles, bat-eared foxes, and the red pangolin. During the rainy season, thousands of springbuck migrate across the region in one of Africa's last great wildlife migrations. The landscape here changes dramatically with the seasons. During the dry months, it's a harsh, red wasteland where only the most adapted animals can survive. But when the rains come, usually between December and March, the transformation is incredible. Grass springs up almost overnight, wildflowers bloom across the red sand, and animals arrive from hundreds of miles away. The Kalahari also holds some of Namibia's most important cultural sites. The Tsodilo Hills, just across the border in Botswana, but culturally part of this region, contain over 4,500 rock paintings, one of the highest concentrations of rock art in the world. These paintings tell the story of human civilization in southern Africa, from the earliest hunter-gatherers to more recent pastoral societies. Chapter 9: Adventure Tourism, the Ultimate Playground. Namibia has become one of the world's premier adventure tourism destinations, offering experiences you literally can't find anywhere else on Earth. This is a country where you can sandboard down 1,000-foot dunes, skydive over the world's oldest desert, and camp under some of the darkest skies on the planet. The adventure starts with the landscape itself. Where else can you drive from towering sand dunes to ocean coastline in a single day? Where else can you see shipwrecks, seal colonies, desert elephants, and diamond mines all within a few hours of each other? Namibia is essentially a giant adventure playground where the landscape itself is the main attraction. Sandboarding in Sources Bay is an experience unlike anything else. Imagine snowboarding, but instead of snow, you're carving down a 1,000-foot sand dune with nothing but desert stretching to the horizon. The sand is so fine it feels like powder, and the speed you can reach is both thrilling and terrifying. Some of the dunes are so steep and tall that it takes over an hour to climb to the top, but the ride down takes just minutes. For those who want an even bigger adrenaline rush, Namibia offers some of the most spectacular skydiving in the world. Jumping out of a plane over the Namib Desert gives you a bird's-eye view of landscapes that look more like abstract art than real terrain. The contrast between the red dunes, white salt pans, and blue sky creates patterns that change constantly as you fall. The country is also famous for its hot air ballooning. Floating silently over the desert at sunrise, watching the dunes change color as the sun rises, is one of the most peaceful yet awe-inspiring experiences you can have. From the air, you can see how the landscape fits together, how ancient river courses created the valleys between dunes, how wildlife moves across seemingly barren terrain, and how massive the scale of everything really is. Namibia's night skies are among the darkest in the world, making it a paradise for stargazers. The lack of light pollution means you can see the Milky Way clearly with the naked eye, and the southern hemisphere sky reveals constellations invisible from North America or Europe. Many lodges now offer astronomy programs. With expert guides who can show you nebulae, galaxies, and planets through powerful telescopes. For water lovers, despite being mostly desert, Namibia offers incredible opportunities. The Orange River on the southern border provides world-class canoeing and rafting, while the coast offers some of the best shark diving in the world. Kayaking with seals and dolphins along the Skeleton Coast is an experience you'll never forget. Chapter 10: Practical Namibia, Planning Your Adventure. After hearing about all these incredible experiences, you're probably wondering how to actually visit Namibia and what it's really like to travel there. The good news is that Namibia is one of the easiest African countries to visit independently, with excellent infrastructure, good roads, and a well-developed tourism industry. Most international visitors fly into Windhoek's Hosea Kutoko International Airport, which receives flights from major cities in Europe, South Africa, and other African countries. From there, you have several options for exploring the country. Many visitors choose to rent a car and drive themselves. Namibia has excellent roads, and driving here is an adventure in itself. The distances in Namibia are vast. It's larger than Texas with a population smaller than most American cities. This means you'll spend a lot of time driving between destinations, but the scenery along the way is spectacular. A typical road trip might cover 2,000 miles over 2 weeks, taking you from the red dunes of Sossusvlei to the wildlife of Etosha National Park to the beaches of the Skeleton Coast. Accommodation ranges from basic camping to some of the most luxurious safari lodges in Africa. Many visitors choose to camp, either in their own vehicles or in preset camping sites. Camping under the Namibian stars is an unforgettable experience, and many of the country's most spectacular locations can only be accessed by camping. For those who prefer more comfort, Namibia has developed a reputation for luxury eco-lodges that rival anything in the world. These lodges combine spectacular locations with world-class service, often in places so remote that you're the only people for hundreds of miles. Many are designed to have minimal environmental impact while maximizing the connection to the landscape. The weather in Namibia is generally dry and sunny, but it varies dramatically by region and season. The coast is cool and foggy, the interior can be scorching hot during the day and freezing at night, and the rainy season from December to March can bring spectacular thunderstorms. The best time to visit depends on what you want to see. Wildlife viewing is best in the dry season, while wildflower blooms and migrating birds are best during the rains. Safety is generally not a major concern in Namibia. It's one of the safest countries in Africa, with low crime rates and stable political conditions. The main dangers are related to the harsh environment, extreme temperatures, dangerous animals, and the risk of getting lost in remote areas. But with proper preparation and common sense, these risks are easily manageable.
Conclusion: why Namibia matters. As our journey through Namibia comes to an end, it's worth reflecting on why this country matters beyond just being a spectacular travel destination. Namibia represents something increasingly rare in our modern world, a place where ancient landscapes, traditional cultures, and modern conservation efforts have combined to create something truly special. In a world where wilderness is disappearing and wildlife populations are declining, Namibia shows us that another approach is possible. This is a country that has managed to increase its wildlife populations, preserve vast wilderness areas, and improve the lives of its people all at the same time. The community-based conservation model pioneered here is now being copied around the world. Namibia also preserves some of the oldest human cultures on Earth. The San people and other indigenous groups maintain connections to the land and ways of life that date back thousands of years. In our increasingly connected and homogenized world, these cultures represent irreplaceable knowledge about how humans can live sustainably in harsh environments. The landscapes of Namibia are not just beautiful, they're irreplaceable. The Namib Desert is a 80-million-year-old library written in stone and sand. The wildlife adaptations found here exist nowhere else on Earth. The night skies are among the last places on the planet where you can see the universe as our ancestors did for millions of years. But perhaps most importantly, Namibia reminds us that our planet is still capable of surprising us. In an age when every corner of the Earth seems to have been explored and photographed, Namibia feels genuinely wild and undiscovered. It's a place where you can still have experiences that feel completely new, where the landscape is so vast and dramatic that it changes your perspective on what's possible. This is a country that challenges every assumption about Africa, about deserts, about what's possible when people and wildlife share the same landscape. It's proof that some of the most incredible places on Earth are still waiting to be discovered by those willing to venture beyond the ordinary. Namibia isn't just Africa's best-kept secret, it's one of the world's great wilderness areas. one of the last places where you can experience the planet as it was before cities and roads in constant connection. It's a reminder that our world is still wild, still beautiful, and still capable of taking your breath away. Whether you're interested in adventure tourism, wildlife photography, cultural experiences, or just seeing landscapes that exist nowhere else on Earth, Namibia has something to offer that you literally cannot find anywhere else. It's a country that gets under your skin, that changes how you see the world, and that calls you back long after you've left. The question isn't whether you should visit Namibia. The question is, how soon can you get there?
Have you been to Namibia, or is it now on your bucket list? Let me know in the comments which part of this incredible country appeals to you most. The towering sand dunes, the desert wildlife, the diamond beaches, or the ancient cultures. And if you enjoyed learning about Africa's best-kept secret, make sure to subscribe for more hidden gems from around the world. Remember, places like Namibia remind us that our planet is still full of wonders waiting to be discovered. The adventure is out there. You just have to be brave enough to find it.